2025 has been a spectacular year for us JRPG enjoyers, especially for me because 3 of my top 10 favorite games of all time have or will have been remade or remastered by the end of this year. For those curious, I'm talking about Suikoden 2, the upcoming Final Fantasy Tactics, and the topic of today's video, The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky First Chapter, to be remade and releasing on September the 19th. Hey there, I'm Nick, and you've tuned in to Nick B RPG, where I discuss all things RPG, my particular favorites being JRPGs. Thank you so much for tuning in. I cannot count on one hand the number of games, or even works of art, period, that are more important to me than The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky. While any reviewer worth their salt tries to be as objective as possible when publicly discussing a work, and I endeavor to this ideal myself, it is still no less true that we are all human, and when we are talking about one of our very favorite works of all time, there's a personal connection that comes along for the ride. And my personal connection to Trails in the Sky is quite important to me. If you'll indulge a brief backstory of my history with this game, I've been an avid JRPG enjoyer since I was a toddler in the late 1980s. I played all through the 90s and half of the aughts until I went to university in late 2005. From there, I went on a nearly decade-long JRPG hiatus. College, work, dating, social life, and getting my career off the ground all took center stage back at that time. Then in August 2014, I had an extended weekend that I took off for my birthday that I was supposed to spend with my then girlfriend, but our relationship was in a bad rut, so I ended up with a bunch of free time on my hands with nothing to do with it. On a whim, I perused Steam, saw Trails in the Sky, picked it up, and fell fast in love with it. Quite possibly the best whim of my life, and a decision that easily is a part of the butterfly effect that led to this channel's creation. Long story short, Trails in the Sky helped me rediscover my love for JRPGs, and I've been an avid enjoyer ever since. So Trails in the Sky, lovingly abbreviated in the community as TITS, is an extremely special game to me. Okay, I want to make a quick disclaimer because if you saw the title of this video, I'm going to be discussing my hopes and fears. But what I want to make really clear here is that this video is not intended to be a downer. I do not have any insider information here, and I'm not in the habit of making forecasts, so I'm not going to make too many predictions here. Really, I just want to talk about one of my favorite games, and what I hope happens, and what I hope doesn't happen with this remake. You ever hear of the colloquial shit sandwich, where you tell somebody something good, you tell them something bad, and then you tell them something good again to make the bad thing more palatable? Or in industry, it might be praise, critique, praise. That will be the structure of this video. I'll discuss some hopes, I'll discuss all my fears, and then I'll end on a high note again, because that is genuinely how I feel about this game's coming. So let's kick off with an easy one, and just revel in the excitement that we're going to get to return to Liberl fully reimagined in 3D. Trails in the Sky was already a masterpiece in my opinion, so if nothing else, getting to revisit the areas that we loved so many years ago, now in 3D, is going to be amazing fan service for our vets and existing lovers of the series. I also have high hopes for the voice cast. Johnny Young Bosch and Matthew Mercer are playing 2 very big roles, and these guys are just legendary voice actors in my opinion. Christina V's involved too, and I adore her voice acting. I'm fairly optimistic that moving from pure text to voice should land well here, but I will say there is something inherently nostalgic and charmingly retro about games that are text only. Though I played Trails in the Sky for the first time in 2014, the game was made in 2004 and even felt more nostalgic than that to me. I was 27 when I went on my first romp through the lovely kingdom of Liberl, but it made me feel like I was 12 again. Maybe this is a really tall ask, and maybe it is my retro gamer bias speaking, but what I really hope is that Falcom manages to deliver a game that is simultaneously accessible and fun for newcomers, but also really respects and pays homage to the original that us veterans already love so much. I remember thinking in 2014 that the game felt somehow modern and retro at the exact same time. Knowing it was made in 2004, this is quite impressive. Trails does have decent quality of life features. Quest logs, save anywhere, retry battles, avoidable on-screen encounters, and a thoroughly rich world that's much deeper and more dialogue heavy than most games of yesteryear. When I played Trails back in 2014, I thought it didn't quite play like a retro game as much as it played like how I remember retro games feeling as a kid. Is it possible to still recreate that in a significantly more modern game? I don't know, but I'm hopeful Falcom is up to the task. I'm also very hopeful about the gameplay. While Trails in the Sky is my favorite in the series, its combat system honestly is not why. It's serviceable, but switching to something faster and snappier is completely fine and even welcome, in my opinion. I have to take the L for a minute, because when Daybreak's hybrid combat system was first announced years ago, I was whinging and belly aching in every YouTube comment section I could about how much I didn't approve of this. Trails was turn-based, damn it! Stick to the turn-based. I love turn-based. Don't you dare take the turn-based from me. But the thing is Daybreak didn't take the turn-based from us. It still is fundamentally a turn-based combat system. It just uses action and quick time for the trash encounters to help the game move and flow more smoothly. It's wonderful, and I was dead wrong. I think the Daybreak Arc's combat system is the best in the entire series, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it port to Trails in the Sky. I'm moderately hopeful about the music as well. Let it be known that I adore the original Skies soundtrack to absolute pieces. I assume they'll reuse most or all of that soundtrack, maybe a few added tracks, and maybe just remixing the originals. I hope that's the case, and for my personal preference, the less they tamper with here, the better. Music has always been one of Falcom's strong suits though, so I'm confident they'll get it right here. Let's talk about one of the quirkiest things that the Sky trilogy, at least on Steam, did. Every time you opened a chest, you could talk to the open chest to, without fail, receive a joke. Every single chest in the game had one, all unique from the other. It's hard to quite justify how or why I loved this so much. I just did. And it was so quirky, charming, and just plain fun. You might think having jokes inside chests is meta or immersion breaking, but I have to say for me, it didn't have that effect at all. It was just a wonderful added element that I'm fairly confident is not likely to return. That's a shame, and I hope I'm wrong. The thing I'm probably most worried about is the fact that Falcom has already explicitly stated that they intend to retrofit story elements from future games, so that there's even better or smoother continuity from this very foundation of the series to the more modern entries that stand today. In principle, I think this is a fantastic idea. The Trails series is a huge series, with deep lore, hundreds of characters, and best-in-class world building. I would say that Trails in the Sky, the one we already have, has top-tier world building as it is. If they do this wrong, will they be throwing too much at newer players who were not as onboarded into the world of Zemuria as the rest of us? That's certainly one concern. The other comes down to my preference. As I've made abundantly clear, and I think every video I've released on this channel up to this point, I do not like when games are padded, overlong, or over-designed. Trails in the Sky is one of my favorite games of all time because it's not a huge game, and it does have a clear, intimate focus on a smaller cast of characters and on a journey that's more relatable than necessarily world-shattering. You'll get to that stuff later in the series, but Trails in the Sky is my favorite because it focuses on the coming of age of two teenagers, the struggles they deal with, missing family, found family, romance, and a political struggle happening within their own kingdom. This kind of deep, narrow focus is so rare in RPGs, and this is the entire reason Sky First Chapter is my favorite game in the series. I just hope in retrofitting they don't add too many fantastical elements or make the game bigger and more obtuse than it needs to be. It would diminish my personal favorite strength of the existing title as we have it. There might also be a problem retrofitting the combat. See, basically every combat system in the Trails series adds progressively more elements, but they're always explained by technological breakthroughs in the game lore. I don't think this should be a huge problem, but I'm curious to see how or if they'll explain those differences, assuming they do go for modern combat rather than retro. Let's end on the biggest and my most sincere hope, that this game will be a stunning success and will introduce one of the greatest JRPG video game series of all time, and certainly the only of its kind, to a whole new generation of gamers. I can remember shouting from the rooftops 11 years ago to any who'd hear me about how special Trails in the Sky is. It was extremely hidden and niche at the time, and Cold Steel definitely boosted its prominence, and I'm hopeful that the remade Trails in the Sky can do that even more so. I've said on this channel before, as an elder JRPG gamer myself who's been playing since the late 80s, I do not like gatekeepers. Trails in the Sky is a really special game, and I hope the world gets to enjoy it as much as I did. Now, if you made it this far into the video and you don't even have any idea really what Trails in the Sky is, well, first of all, thank you. I'm a tiny channel, and it means the world to me that you tuned in and listened to a little YouTuber talk about one of his favorite games. But secondly, I have to say, I think you're in for a treat. If you like JRPGs, to me, this is one that you can't miss. And I definitely feel the same way for us returners as well. Yes, as I've already enumerated in this video, I think that there are ways where this remake can go wrong, but I'm really confident that Falcom knows what they're doing and that they are going to give us a fantastic reimagining of the foundation to one of the most legendary JRPG franchises of all time. This is Nick BRPG. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.